Hey guys, it's Elena. Today I'm going to show you how to gather in just a few simple steps, and I'm going to even tell you and explain why we do it this way. What do I say? So if you want to gather fabric, you will have a very long piece. This is just an example, a teaching example, so obviously my piece is a little bit shorter than yours might be, but if you were doing this for a skirt or a dress, your piece will probably be quite a bit longer and possibly wider as well. But if you want to gather your fabric, you will first start over here adjusting your sewing machine. So right now I have mine at a stitch length of about 2.5. That's usually where I keep mine. But when you want to gather, you're going to turn it up all the way to the longest stitch length. And you just want a normal straight stitch. To start, you want to start here at the beginning of your fabric. I typically do a smaller seam allowance than I normally would, about 1/4 inch, and just sew all the way along your fabric, lining up this raw edge with the side of your presser foot. So you have gone all the way along your fabric. For reference, I do have white thread on the top and blue thread in my bobbin just for some contrast. Go all the way along your fabric, and then the next step is to do another stitch just like before, but you'll want it parallel to this stitch and your raw edge. Just go ahead and do it 1/4 inch below your first stitch. Once you have your 2 rows of stitching, you should also have, 2 rows of string. So what you're going to do is take these top strings, so in this case the white ones, and I usually wrap it around my fingers a few times, and then I will just go ahead and keep this static and then start pulling my fabric in. You can go ahead and shimmy this down just a little bit and then pull more, and do this all the way down, and you can even pull from the other side as well. So here I have my 2 stitched gathering, and I have an example here of where I just did 1 stitch. This is actually what I used to do because I thought, what's the point of doing 2 when I could just do 1? But I'm here to tell you, do 2, not 1. And basically what I found the difference is, one reason why you want to do 2 instead of 1 is in case this one little string breaks, it is really nice to have an extra or a backup string that you can gather, and all of your work won't just disappear into nothing. But also, in addition, sometimes if you have a lot of fabric, and especially a lot of a loose type of fabric like tulle or organza, this top fabric will kind of curl different ways and makes it very difficult sometimes to attach this to another piece of fabric. For example, if I were to have a gathered skirt attached to a bodice, you might catch some of these things, or this would be a lot more bulky as opposed to this very nice, straight, flat piece. One way that I actually like to think about it is, please admire my cat notepad, is if you have I'm gonna tear this. If you have 1 point, then you could have lines going through it anyway. Whereas if you have 2 points, then there's only one way where both points can be connected. So I kind of am viewing this as this side. Your fabric will go up and down because it's being connected at these 2 points each and every stitch. Whereas here, you only have 1 stitch, and so your fabric can kind of go any which way, and it makes it a lot harder to attach to things. So it really does make a difference to have 2 stitch lines instead of just 1. Another trick that you can do is to actually iron this, and this will make it even easier for you to attach this to something to either create a ruffle or a nice gathered skirt or whatever it is that you're doing. And here is the finished gathered product. This is kind of what you'll end up with when you follow the steps that I've told you, and I think it looks actually really nice, and this is something that can be applied to most anything. So I really hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if there's something else down in the comments that you would like me to make tutorials on. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.